Typical story. Boy meets girl, girl meets boy, boy falls in love with girl, girl falls in love with boy. Boy dies in a tragic blimp accident over the Super Bowl. Good year? No, it was the worst. Naked Gun, look it up, kids. All right, we got the Weck Power Vest. We're gonna put this thing to the test today with some just a little jogging, a little bit of running some hills. It has these cartridges in here that bounce, and they sort of bounce with you, and you'll hear them. They're going to be pretty loud as we get running. You can kind of hear them now as we get going too. They sort of go and they flow with you, giving you some of that haptic feedback, that noise, but it's also hitting the ground kind of as you're hitting the ground, and it's in a gingerly way kind of pushing you back up into the air. Sometimes certain people, they make certain things, and you're sometimes in your head, you're like, well, just like, why wouldn't I buy that? Seems like it'd be good for all kinds of different endeavors. I could picture just putting this on in like a boxing class just to get that rhythm, just to get those little noises. I mean, yeah, you could sit here and go, oh, it's gonna bother everybody else or make too much noise. It's a training tool. You don't have to wear it the whole time, but I can see just getting more out of your training when you have something like this on. Be interesting to try it with like pull-ups and stuff too. Like if you could pull yourself up strongly enough to make this do that, it should kind of give you a little pop. But it's kind of interesting because it kind of reminds me of the carbon footplate shoes. The better you are, the easier they are to use and to take advantage of. If you're not strong enough to take advantage of the carbon footplate shoes, you don't really get as much out of them, it feels like. And I would say maybe something similar with this. The noise might be bothering you guys, but it's not bothering me. It feels good. The goal for today is to do the overpass about 6 times. That would be good. That'd be a good amount of work for today. Been a while. When I come over to this hellish, this one way takes almost 3 minutes to get up. But I'll do variation. I'll do that one. Maybe I'll do that one twice. It's a lot of volume. We got to see how the hamstring holds up. So far, I feel nothing in the hamstring at all, really, except for the shot that I took. Hardest thing to do so far today was just to tie my shoes, because that bend forward gets that hammy to elongate a little bit. ProPulse Power Vest. I think you're going to see a lot of people using this. I think you're going to see all kinds of different people ordering this up and giving this thing a shot, giving it a go. It's just one of those items where it's like, well, why not get it and why not experience it and why not play with it? I think you'll see the NBA teams, NFL teams and stuff having some interest in some of this, along with some other types of athletes. I really like the fact that these battery and springs, how they kind of interact as you're moving. They're slightly and gently kind of pushing you up off the floor. You know, from a physics perspective and all that, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I know that when I put it on, it makes some good rattling noises and it feels good. A lot of people over the years want to do studies on the slingshot. Why test something that we know totally works? Using a slingshot, having a device that allows you to train a little heavier than normal, that's been practiced and done forever with partial range of motion and various other means to do things like that. So you already know that that's going to have a really good benefit. With this, we don't really know exactly what this thing's going to do yet, but it's exciting because this is extra weight. And if I can get up a hill with extra weight, a similar speed or faster speed, or even if it's a slower speed a little bit, but it's an extra 12 pounds of weight, I think that's what this weighs, around 12 pounds. That's pretty remarkable. 12 pounds for a lot of people is going to represent a pretty decent percentage of their body weight to kind of lug around. And the idea is, and what David has tested, David Weck, the creator of the BOSU Ball as well, what he has noticed so far is that people are actually a little faster when they're wearing this. So I'm sure that once this thing hits the market, it'll be studied more and we'll have a better understanding of exactly how to use it, how often to use it, all that kind of stuff. But for now, I'm just going to ride dirty in it and go raw and communicate with you guys about it. I think it's a fantastic tool. I know that it's not cheap, but I think that it's going to be worth it. Run number 1 felt good. It feels like it's encouraging more movement. And someone might think that more movement's like a bad thing, because in sport a lot of time it is. You want kind of like that George Foreman type thing of no wasted movement when he was a veteran. He came back in his 40s and won a few world championships. He was just here, come forward, he just do this thing, those big old forearms, and he just goes slugging away. And they said he had no wasted movement. Meanwhile, the other guy is here doing all this stuff. Sometimes people think or refer to that as like wasted energy, wasted movement. But sometimes that movement is something that just feels good or feels right to an athlete. And so sometimes it's kind of necessary. And I think for me, being someone that's like been stuck through the hips, the pelvis, the quads, I think it's important that I exaggerate and I might look a little weird and funny for a while until I can coordinate all this stuff together. But anyway, this just feels like it encourages more movement. We chucked my brother into this years ago. My brother has a lot of pain. He's had pain for many, many years. And we put him into this thing. He was like bouncing around, jumping around. David Weck put his mother into it. I think she's like in her 80s. She was looking great. She was running around the living room. She was going like this. And, David was saying, hey, Mom, hold on to something. And she's just kind of cruising along. But see how it gives you that feedback even real slow. Put your mom, your dad, your uncle, put some of those people into this thing. And rather than them just going out walking like this, they can maybe walk / jog, move. This is, how slow am I going right now? This is slow. I'm not really coming off the ground. Still feels like a walk. Okay? But if I'm just to pop a little bit more, now I just turned it into a little bit of a jog. I'm not even saying we need to get people out there running that never run before. That's not necessarily the goal. Just getting people outside, getting people moving. And, what about movements that people are pretty familiar with? What about this guy? What about stuff like that? Lunges, squats, maybe jump squat. And every time you do that jump squat, you get a little pop, pop, pop every time you do that jump squat. Maybe you throw this on during a Peloton workout, or a guided workout that you're following. It's got some weights and stuff, but it's got some jumping and some movement. As long as you're not like laying on a bench, you can do almost every movement. You can do a lot of movements in the gym while still having this on. Overhead press, curls. In between that, you could be hopping down. Imagine doing this on some dips. That's something I should have hit up at the gym, some dips. You see how that feels. Feels amazing. Be a good jaunt running up this hill. Really not much of a grade here at all. But then it loops around. Got a pretty good hill. Get a little mini hill over here. Mini hill, flat surface, and then a pretty good ramping up. So this is a really good soul-crushing run right here. Slightly tore my hamstring, or tore my hamstring, I should just say, about a week and a half ago on the tread. I was flying. I was flying 14 miles an hour. The incline was at like 4 or 5, so not a huge incline, but there was an incline. And the last set, the last rep, the last second of the last set, just a little ta-ta. It's like, oh. No. But I'm grateful that it happened, because I think I would have got snipered out by something else later on that would have been worse. So I'm glad that's good that my body reacted that way. It's going to lead to better outcomes in the long run. So anyway, just kind of like not really going to run all that hard on any of these, but the duration of it's going to be hard. That's the way I like to look at stuff when I'm thinking about my workouts. There's so many ways to attack a workout, and I think most people just kind of think from the intensity side. But for most people that already like working out, the intensity side is not usually ever a problem. Most people like the intensity side of things. It's got some duration to it right there. I should probably spend a lot of time on that hill. I should probably do that once a week. 3 to 5 sets of that once a week. Probably really bring up some good capacities for me. This workout, even though it'll be, some work, got a lot of walking in just to even get here. A lot of real low intensity, zone 1 and 2. But now we're probably tapping into a little zone 3 and 4. So get a really good variety of training in a day. And then also, because there's only like that much of the training in zone 3 and 4, probably mostly zone 3, maybe a tiny bit of zone, probably not much zone 4, but anyway, it's a small amount, so the workout should be fairly easy to recover from. I should be able to hit up a Tabata on a bike tomorrow, or I should be able to hit up a 20 or 30 minute nasal breathing session on the assault bike, 200 to 250 watts the whole time. So just gonna walk this out. For me, my respiration is probably more key than like my heart rate, since I'm not looking at any sort of thing that's measuring my heart at this moment. So just getting the lungs back, I can kind of already feel it. Like once I go to that purple sign up there and walk back, it'll be easy to do another set. You want your goals to be very attainable, so I'm gonna feel amazing when I do these 6 sets today. Last night I did some singles on the bench with some chains, and then I went back down and did some speed work, and I did 8 sets of 3 reps. And because I had that in my head beforehand, I was going to do the 8 sets of 3 reps. After I completed the 8 sets of 3 reps, I felt like $1 million. It's just a completely made up thing to do, but make up stuff for yourself to do that's obtainable. Have some short-term goals that are really, really easy to hit. I know that you might want to lose 50 pounds, or I know that you might want to bench 3 plates, but right now maybe you only bench 275. Well, 3 plates is far away. 100 pounds or 50 pounds of weight loss, 50 pounds of weight loss, even 20 pounds of weight loss, it's going to take a while. It's going to take some time, and I know sometimes people are like, oh, well, I've done this before. I lost 20 pounds quick, or I gained 20 pounds on my bench pretty fast. Well, that was something you did previously already, And so it might be it might take you a little longer than you think the second time around, third time around. And just having some patience with your training is really important. But if you have wins rather than failures, I mean, all we're trying to do in this world is you got 7 days in a week, which is perfect because it's an odd number. And you're just trying to have more better days than worse days. So you got to be able to have 4 days out of the week suck a little bit less than the rest of them. That's all you're trying to do. But you get to make it up. And I think sometimes, and I've done this to myself, sometimes you set a goal that's too big, that's too far ahead, that's too far down the road. And then you feel like you're a failure, you feel like you keep losing. And so you have more losing days rather than winning days. And to have more winning days, make shit easy for yourself. Throw yourself underhand pitches so you can knock those suckers right out of the park. I do think if for some reason you wanted your vest to be silent, I think you just flip these. They're easy to take out. You flip these over, and now it's just a regular weighted vest versus when they're like this. So for some reason you wanted to quiet the vest down, you just flip it over. You got a vest that still gives you some good weight, but can act like a normal weighted vest as well. But yeah, learning this little hop is nice. This little pop, this little spring. You know, Weck has talked forever about the double down, how the best sprinters in the world, not even necessarily just best sprinters, but just people that are running fast in general, both arms are down at their side at some part of the run because one arm is passing the other. So they have this double down where the elbows are right there, and you kind of get a feel for that with this. It kind of highlights some of the things he's always thought and felt about locomotion, about movement, about forward motion. And this verifies a lot of other things that people have thought about with forward motion. That forward motion is vertical, which is kind of weird, right? You're like, no, it's forward. But a lot of it's vertical. Maybe it's a mixture of both. I think the people that study it, the nerds, they believe it's a little more vertical, or predominantly vertical, dealing with vertical forces. And I guess through dealing those vertical forces, you're thrusting yourself through space very fast, horizontally. I can't believe it, but my hamstring feels healed up. I know it's not 100%, but it's pretty crazy. If I was like an NFL running back or something like that, I wouldn't be able to play. But I can move decently. All right, set number 4. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Part of recovering is to get cool. Not cold, but cool. So just letting this heat come out of my head, hiking up the pants a little bit, let your body dump some heat, Remember that Stanford study with the cold mitts? Increases your testosterone, all that stuff. Helps you recover in between sets. But you see a lot of fighters, you know, with the ice packs and stuff. Sometimes it's for swelling, you know. But they also have these like iron things that are sitting in a bucket of ice, and they just put it on the guy. Just get him to cool down, or the ice pack on the back of the neck. Kind of amazing you don't see it really in other sports. I mean, football players will dump water on their head, but kind of surprised it's not even more common. I mean, getting their pads off would be a logistical nightmare because they're hard to get back on. If there's an interception or fumble or change the ball, change it, you know, it'd be hard to get in and out of everything. But I'm surprised. I mean, the football pads could probably even be designed to have some cold air or something running through them. Sit on the sidelines, hook into something, cool down. But cooling down is a huge part of the process. A huge reason why you run out of energy is because you kind of just get too hot in a way. Kind of picture bending a credit card back and forth over and over again. Eventually breaks in the middle, right? Sort of. Kind of what it's that burn that you experience when you're doing a set of curls and stuff. The only way to cool down from it is just to stop, right? But in this case, you're out running. You know, don't make yourself sick. Don't be cold, you know, too cold for too long, but just cool off. So we're gonna run right back up that hill. Pretty comfortable fit. I don't have any complaints. I do think that probably a nice idea to wear like a t-shirt underneath rather than maybe just like a tank, just for fear of like rub. But also most people are probably only gonna like jump and sprint in this. They probably won't be in it maybe as long as I might be. So because of that, then maybe they don't have to worry about chub rub as much as maybe I do. But just some thoughts. But yeah, it feels good. And I do think it has things to adjust. So I'm probably gonna try to adjust it so that this comes down a little lower because it's a little bit high up on my double chins. Last one. Some workouts, they're going to be intense. It's got to break your breathing, right? It's not always nasal breathing. Good combo. Get a little bit of both. I've been practicing on the O2 trainer as well, and that feels interesting. Resistance breathing, pretty tough to do. I'll show that to you guys. I think I may have demonstrated it before, but I'll do it again. It's worth showing you again. Boss rooting. You start to teach yourself to breathe with some resistance, and you build up some of your breathing muscles. Really nice concept, nice idea. But right now as I'm running, I can sort of feel it. I can breathe through my back a little bit. Breathe through some pockets I didn't even know I had. Really, once I can return to nasal breathing, it's a good sign that I'm ready to go. So as soon as my breathing feels good enough to where I can go in and out of the nose 5 or 6 times in a row, probably time to get back to work. whenever you do a pretty hard effort, whether it be dumbbell bench press or some push-ups, something in the gym, leg extensions, leg press, running like that. See if you can just nasal breathe your way back to normal breathing. So you get done with something hard like I just did there. I brought myself back with some nasal breathing, which is challenging because you feel like you can't breathe. But you're fine. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're good. You just need to kind of sit in it for a second and wait it out. You'll get the air that you need. It's just the oxygen and CO2 ratios trying to balance out in your body. So try to get some good deep breaths in the nose, out of the nose. Kind of hard when it's colder out just because of the snot and everything else, but it's a great practice and you'll find yourself breathing easier and easier. Like that workout I just did, I wouldn't even have been able to do that at all like 2 years ago. But my capacity is much greater to do things like that. I can breathe through it easier. I can manage it a lot easier. Like nothing that I did today was really that hard. A couple of those longer runs, yeah, got to be a little difficult. If I was running with somebody else who's better than me, it'd be a little more challenging because you try to keep up a little bit with them. But all in all, that felt great. Got everything I wanted out of my hamstring today. Was able to do some good squats. Was able to do some depth jumps. Able to play around with the vest a little bit. And able to get up on these hills, overpass. Kind of the only hills we got here in Davis, California. On these overpasses. But yeah, this thing is Smelly Bell approved. I really like it a lot. I like what David did with this. This is the ProPulse Power Vest. I always just wanted to call it the Weck Vest. Make everyone's life easier. Who the hell knows what ProPulse means? But anyway, it's a sick vest. Great creation. Congrats to David Weck and his team and his squad. Great product, and I look forward to seeing a lot of people using it and getting great benefits in 2026. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.